Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another session here in Readers Magnet's featured author interview. My name is Leah, and I will be your host for today. And with me is one of the Readers Magnet's featured author, and of course, one of the most valuable author we have. And we are very honored and happy to have this discussion with him, to know him as an author, what this book is all about, and of course, what inspired him to write this book. So, everyone, let's all welcome our one and only Mr. Jim Reuther, author of the book Gunky's Adventures in the Land of Must Believe. All right. Hello, Jim. Hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing? How's the world doing?
I'm doing great, Jim. Thank you so much for asking. And you know what? I am very excited to have this discussion with you right now because, yes, I've been hearing a lot of positive feedback coming from Mark, coming from Kian. One of the authors is very dedicated about their book. And yeah, I must say that we really appreciate you for choosing Reader's Magnet to be part of this journey.
I I appreciate you also.
Thank you so much, Jim. And yes, this is the moment that we've been waiting for. But before we tackle about your book, Jim, maybe a little bit of self-introduction. We wanted to know who Mr. Jim Ruther is. So yeah.
Well, I am a PhD chemical physicist by training. I've had a 40-year career at doing that. And I've studied
Mhm.
everything from soothing candle flames to explosive fireballs that have been meant to burn and kill people. So
Oh.
you can see I've gone from the peaceful to the horrible. And that's what inspired me
Right.
to write this book. Really, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good has been the beloved family and friends that I've had over the years and the new friends now at Reader's Magnet.
Mm-hmm.
The bad part has been losses of my spouse and friends, dear friends, and setbacks in my life. But the ugly is having a firsthand experience of seeing the raw horror of war, and that's really what inspired me to do this book. Is to really I've been around the world and I've seen many people in these areas, and they're all they want to do is live happily on the planet and spin in peace. They
Mm-hmm.
really There, and I in this book I'm asking, well, why not? I'm asking people to consider what their options are and what their needs are. And the purpose of the book really is was written to be an escape for people into a kinder, gentler, and inspirational world where they hopefully can find some more peace and tranquility. And I hopefully they find that in Gunky's world. So that's really where I come from. You could characterize my career as I'm a light whisperer.
Wow, that is such an amazing journey, Jim. And you know what? I really like it because you mentioned earlier from a peaceful habits due to this. I mean, from that peaceful habit to this things horrible things, but wow, that is very interesting, Jim. And here I also like the inspiration. Where is it coming from? About your spouse to on how to stay positive with all these happenings. Now, thank you so much for sharing that, Jim. And here, before we jump onto other information about your book, do you have your book with you right now? Will you please show it to our viewers? All right, there. Thank you so much for that, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, and here, yes, Jim, going back to that book, I wanted to start with the title Gunky's Adventures in the Land of Must Believe. So, can you tell us what does the title mean?
The title is it's an adventure in the land. I'm going to create a land, a situation of must believe. Now, I want to say the intent of the book is to help those who are struggling emotionally with tragedy and the like. And
Mm-hmm.
I would want, it's a disclaimer is I do not want to tell anybody how or to what to do in their life, but I'm asking them to wonder. So each story is going to begin with a poem, and each story is going to take you on an adventure, and you where you wind up, you will not expect. But at the end of each story, I ask a wondering. I ask you to wonder about what your options are. So that's really it. The book is titled Gunky. That was the childhood nickname that my mother gave me. And when I show the
Mm.
picture of Gunky, everybody goes, ah, how cute. Let me hold it up right.
Wow, that is so cute. Right
And
there.
yeah, there you go.
And
And
that picture, that image is
everybody
you.
says, who's that? Is that you? And I say, yeah, that's me without the goatee. Uh, that's really the story. And my mother was a dear mother. She inspired me to write poetry. She knew that I was in a dark world and was a hard man, and she inspired me to write
Mhm.
about poetry, particularly nature. That was my first poem, Trees for All Seasons, one of my favorites. Uh, but the second question that's asked is what is on the cover of the book? And those are
Mhm.
lucky stones. They are rocks with holes in them.
Lucky stones.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if you look at them, you can see him. And here's one from the cover. It's a stone that has a natural hole through it, so that when you look through it, you can see through it. You can see the other side. And my message is,
Wow.
in magic, if you believe in magic, and I do, you must believe in everything. It's a portal to the other world. It's a portal to a kindler, gentler world that you can be in, depending upon how you feel and how you believe and what you believe in and your options. So it's a portal to
Mhm.
the other world. And I ask the question: you're dreaming through this portal. You can make it happen. You can be in a happier place simply by turning the rock around and looking through it. You can essentially define your happiness by being kinder and just trying to find peace with, and trying to realize that no matter what tragedy happens, you're going to find peace and tranquility.
Wow, and that is something very priceless to say, Jim. To always, see positivity with all the things, strategy that had happened in your life. Because
Especially
again,
in today's world, yes, it's.
absolutely.
And I say that today's world is should not be driving us crazy. It should be
Mhm.
driving us sane because we do know what the right things are to do. And again, the disclaimer: I'm just telling you to wonder how to make your life better and how to feel better through hope and inspiration.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Jim. And Jim, I am very curious because again, this whole story is also based on your experience, right? Now, there must have been, let's say, emotional triggers as you were writing. How did you handle all of that? Because it really brings back a lot of memories, right?
That's the whole point of it. I consider the story, the analogy that I use is a road race. I had it's about the checkered flags, about the twisty turns, about the speed bumps, and about the crashes in my life. And I'm essentially going to tell you how I straightened out the curves and
Hmm.
went bounced over the rocky roads and continued to drive on in my life with hope, resolve, and a smile. Everything we all have the same tragedies. We all have the same things. And so one of the topics of the book, if you want to go through them, there's 26 short stories. The first one was written by my late wife for me to find
Mm.
after she passed away, and
Whoa,
it
she
was
left you
after
a message.
she left me a love letter, afterlife
A
love
love
letter,
letter.
beginning in A,
Wow.
and in which she talked about some of our experiences in battling her last years. She was
Hmm.
a brilliant woman, married 36 years. But in that book, she had a wish, and that was for me to write my stories. So that's why I wrote the stories. The first story that I wrote was my love letter back to her, and that's under the letter I. That's under Inspirational Inferno. It's about flames and hope and why candles are lit. The other 24 short stories are about bizarre happenings. There's gags and humor. Yes, even a
Mm.
PhD molecular spectroscopist could try to be funny, and sometimes I can make people laugh. It's meant to be inspirational. It's meant to be about true love. It's
Wow.
also about mysteries that will befuddle you, and I will take you through a mystery, and you'll think you'll figure it out, and I will double cross you just to be a trickster. It's about nature and trees that I love. I'm going to introduce a new benevolent monster. I think Bigfoot needs a gentler partner. It's
Hmm.
about odd personalities that I've met, only the scientists could meet, which are very interesting. It's about practical jokes that my father played on me and that I will play on others.
Hmm.
It's about puns. It's about resiliency. It's about mental
Hmm.
toughness and emotional toughness. There's a few pranks. There's always a surprise ending. And as you read it, I hope that there will be some tears, both from happiness and sadness that you've had, but I'm sharing those tears with you.
Wow. And you know what? That is very amazing, Jim. And one thing that I really like about how you come up with this book, it's you actually saying on how to stay positive after a partner dies, after a spouse dies, you know, taking a one day at a time approach that will also allow a person to, you know, let's say grieve at their own pace, you know, talk out their thoughts and feelings. Because again, healing starts when you can share your grief to
But
others, right? To
that's
allow
right.
your.
And the
Mhm,
biggest problem I had was sharing my, so bearing my soul to the world. And that I
exactly.
would hope with other. I have mentored several men or husbands and wives who've had losses, and I've mentored several
Mhm,
people. It's a calling in life because I've gone through that, and try to give them its advice. And the general advice I hear is, no matter what emotion you feel is right, you know, uh, be in the moment, and there
mhm,
is hope. There's always hope at the end. The message
exactly.
that I'd like to give, the overall message, is that I hope the readers come away with a rejuvenated belief, hope, and joy and warmth in their hearts, minds, and souls. And remember that we're all in this wonderful world together, and that we all want to cheer and chuckle and cry. And we have to learn how to laugh, live, and love and be kind together. And when we do this, the overall message that I give is that for reason, peace, and love will prevail, and you must believe.
Wow. There it goes. There we have the title of that. Is very amazing, Jim. And you know what? Because again, in reality, talking about, let's say, talking about mortality is also one of the best ways to really overcome a fear of that, about, you know, passing someone. And that is very amazing, Jim. And here, um I like to also ask Jim, you know, having this book as a successful, let's say, creation from you sharing your experience now, um in your own words, Jim, how do you think, let's say, writing these kind of books empowers individuals to, let's say, individuals who, especially to someone out there who also experience the same thing, to let's say, really have the courage in sharing their experiences, on not to be afraid in uncovering things from the past.
It's therapeutic. It's a way to capture your emotions. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
scientist, a PhD scientist. I did equations and technical jargon, and in this one, I had to write words. And with words, the
Right.
way you construct a paragraph or a sentence, a thought, there are feelings, there's emotion in them. And putting it down on paper and doing it, you sit back and you have comfort because you can see it in words. It goes from abstract in your mind to on paper. And when you read it back, I will say that the book is available on soft and hard covers. It's on Kindle. It's also an
Uh-huh.
audio book. Jason Vanderbrake, who narrated the Gunky's adventures, made me laugh and made me cry, and I wrote the words. So that's
Wow.
really what I want, that you hear it. I
Mm-hmm.
want you to feel with it. I want you to identify with it. And I want you to feel that there's an ally in it. And there's always light. That's the key. I'm a light whisperer. I'm always trying to say there's that light and that hope. It's that candle flame. And if we have the time, I would mind reciting my favorite poem of this. And that's uh, from Inspirational Inferno.
Mm-hmm.
Eternal is our curiosity of your spiritual luminosity. You shine and sparkle. Oh, what a thrill! As colorful and lively as a daffodil. You frolic and flare, shimmer and sway, mysterious, transient, while trying to say that with each wisp of bright golden blaze, hope will flash from gloom's dark haze. Your
Wow.
beam makes it clear when despair is near, and melancholy darkens your head. Watch and believe, and your mind will relieve with joy and illumination instead. And that's why candles are lit. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Jim. Such a very lovely poem full of inspiration, hope, faith, and I also like how you highlighted this specific thing to not just focus on the destination, but hey, you also need to focus on the journey. Wow.
You just said what I am feeling. So thank you for that endorsement.
Exactly.
We are now on the same plane. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much for that, Jim. And of course, really, it was here. Lastly, I wanted you to take advantage of this platform. Now, what would you tell to people who would like to read your book?
I would like to give it a try. Again, I want to say that I'm not trying to tell people how to do things. It's
Mm-hmm.
really about options. And I think that the world is at extremes. Try to find the right camera. They're extremes. They're far apart. I'm trying to bring people closer together because when it comes right down to it, we all want the same thing. The question
Exactly.
is why can't we all have it? Why can't we all get together? Now you're not going to get everything. You're going to have
Mm-hmm.
tragedy and you're going to have successes, but you can take the good with the bad. We want to avoid the ugly. I make the very sarcastic mark that I would like to retire from my business, but there's always this conflict. But it can be done. You must believe there can be reason, peace, and love in this world. So give it a chance. I want to put you in a different state of mind. I want to have you evaluate your mind. This book, the question that was asked to me after I wrote it, people said, "Why did you write this book?" I had to think about that. I had to put it in words. This interview is making me put it into words, make me to speak it. That's what you need. You need to say it out loud. And if it's only to yourself, you could write a diary. Some people write diaries. And then if you want to share, if you want to help other people, you have to be brave enough to go out and lend that helping hand. And if we all join hands, we'll all be a much more kinder, gentler, and peaceful world. And that's what we're hoping for.
Wow, that is amazing, Jim. Thank you so much, Jim. It was really an interesting discussion, Jim. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. Again, for letting Readers Magnet to be part of this whole journey, not just you reaching your goal as an author, but of course, sharing your story with the world. Thank you so much for that, Jim. And yes, everyone, for our viewers out there, Mr. Jim Reuther's book is available in Amazon.com, Barnes& and Noble, and of course, please check his website. That's www.jimreuther, aka gunky.com. And also, check his other social media platform for you to be able to know him more as an author and what exactly his book is all about. Again, thank you so much, Mr. Jim Reuther,
And
author
I want
of
to
the
thank
book. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I want to thank all of the work that you have done tirelessly. This has been a great experience with all the members of your team. They've been cooperative to the great extent.
Hmm.
The Los Angeles Times Festival of Book
Yeah,
signing,
right. For your book signing, can you share to us? Oh, how was the experience? Okay, I really wanted to have this one on live. Please, Jim, let us know.
uh,
How was it?
I really didn't know what I was getting into because all my book signings were canceled because of the COVID. So I went there just to
Oh,
experience it. It was another
mm-hmm.
donkey's adventure. Uh,
Right.
it exceeded expectations. I mean, having 85 people come up and sign the book and tell me that they were interested in reading it and learning about Lucky Stones, and I mean, I could see
Mm,
them just based on what the book was about, that it was going to help them, that it was going to reinforce some of their beliefs and the like. And sharing it with my daughter Laura, who lives in Los Angeles. She was marvelous. As I was writing, she was explaining. So we connected with a lot of people. And again, if
right.
so, it was a fabulous experience, and I can't thank you enough. I mean, it launched me into a higher state of peace and tranquility, and I want to thank you for that. I'm truly blessed.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Jim. We really appreciate you. And of course, Readers Magnet family, we love you. Thank you so much, Jim. And again, here, everyone, Mr. Jim Reuther, author of the book, Gunky's Adventures in the Land of Must Believe. Thank you so much, Jim. And as we say it here in Reader's Magnet, we share your story with the world. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you very much. Peace seeing you.